Hello, everybody. My name's Conor McGilligan. This is my channel, but this is 3 at the Back. I'm sandwiched between two beautiful men yet again this week. Benjamin Bloom on my left, Matt SB on my right. We've managed to get Matt SB on a show. He's at Coventry every single week now they've started winning games, but he is back. He's featuring with us, and we'll go to him first of all. Matt, how you doing? All good?
Oh, you're so slimy, Connor, aren't you? Hey, when are you going to get to a Leeds game, mate? I'll tell you what. We'll go together next season, won't we? Leeds v Coventry. We'll do that, yeah.
Hand in hand. If you don't bottle it, Ben, how you doing? All good?
I'm good, mate. Let's start off hot. I think the audience probably want to know, Connor, who would make your combined Leeds and Fulham team?
It's happening in the back pocket. You didn't mention that anything beforehand. Yeah,
you had a pop at Matt, and I always stand up for Matt.
Good lad, Ben. Good lad.
I'm getting done. They do too many League One reviews together. But if you don't know everybody, I've been defending myself all week as Green King have absolutely done me in with a combined 11, which I did 2 months ago. I had a moustache in November, and I put in about 7 Fulham players. So there we go. Right, chaps, we have got a lot to discuss. Guys, as well, let us know in the comment section below. You always tell us afterwards things that you want us to talk about next week. It'd be actually really good if you wanted some topics for us to discuss in the
Connor, can I just come in there? I just want to give a shout out to my favourite comment last week. I can't remember who put it, but it was something like, really like this show. Connor and Matt have really good insights. Full stop.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Did I not like that and pin that? Damn it!
Get that one pinned. Give that guy a shout out. Whoever wrote that out. Bit of a dig, I think.
Shout out to you, mate. Let's get some more comments like that. But yeah, leave us some topics in the comment section below, everybody. Things you want us to talk about, maybe videos you want us to do. These old rankings and tier lists are a thing in modern YouTube. So get us oldies on it. We're going to start off at the very bottom of the pile, although it doesn't feel like the bottom of the pile now when you're looking at the form table. Matt SB, the team that you'd have supported if Coventry weren't about, Wolverhampton Wanderers.
That's it. Got strong ties over to Wolverhampton. I do. It's not a bad result. I think most teams in the league are 0-0 against Newcastle. You'd take it, especially if your team bottom of the table. So it's a positive. All the bad news, though, on Saturday meant that Wolves really had to win if there's any chance of them staying up. Because what a weekend we had down at the bottom, with the bottom 5 all getting something, and Sunderland obviously in the top 10, but they got a result.
I love how we just do that. I love how we just do that all the time now. Don't we? The bottom 5, bottom 6, great results, and Sunderland.
Yeah, exactly. They had to dig in, didn't they? It looked like Newcastle definitely with a team on top, creating more chances. But the positives to take away is another point on the board, another result towards getting past Derby's record, which I think we're all going to agree they'll get past now. Maybe they could still catch Burnley. That's what we were sort of disagreeing on last week. Could they catch Burnley? Like I say, they had to dig in. I was going to ask you guys a question about Rob Edwards. Do you think now that we've seen some results coming through, even though we still think they're going to go down, that it's starting to look more of a justified move? Because obviously you go back a few months ago with Wolves being bottom and Middlesbrough being in the top 2, and they still are at the moment. A lot of the conversation was he's showing no loyalty, he's got no morals, people referring to him like he's Dirty Den from EastEnders making the move over there. But
Dirty Den! Oh my God.
What do we think? Is there something there now going into next season? I think we're all agreed they're still going down, but is this the building blocks? And especially if they can have a good January window where they offload a couple of players that they need to, just to balance the books and make sure they're in a strong position financially. Is there positives?
I think this is one for Conor McGilligan, who was very strong that this was not a good hire. Are you changing your mind, Con?
No, because they're still bottom. So no, it's not. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to be like. I'm trying to be nice right now. But we'll wait and see. I mean, it's momentum going into the Championship. But I have to say that, great for Wolves fans to have this encouragement and stuff like that. I don't think Newcastle were great at the weekend. I think it was an opportunity there for Wolves, and I thought they were organised quite well. I guess that's something you can put on Edwards' shoulders, of course, been the new man that's come in. I don't know. Would I have said that Vitor Pereira at some stage might have been able to get a bit of momentum from this Wolves squad? I'm sure a lot of Wolves fans in the comment section will say, Connor, you deluded. That would have never have happened, but I think they might have had a spell. Is that what Rob Edwards is having now? I mean, how many wins have they got in this period? Just the one over West Ham. Draws, fantastic, great, but they need to be turned into wins pretty soonish, I think. And yeah, it's not just going at Rob Edwards, of course. It's not. There's been a little bit of an improvement there, but there had to be some improvement at some point, right? They were losing every single week. So yeah, Ben, I'll launch it over to you.
Yeah, I think you probably covered it there, in respects of, the bar was so low that any level of competency, and you start drawing games and it does all of a sudden look better. I guess it's because it's a 4-game undefeated streak, and
2026 are unbeaten.
Yeah, and it was very, very much the archetypal game of a team that's really struggling against a team that's, where are Newcastle? They're 8th, who pushing for those top 6 spots, whereby they still could have lost the game, couldn't they? Newcastle had chances, and yet you have to have a bit of luck. Do you
think I'm being harsh on Wolves there? Do you think there has been a significant improvement with Rob Edwards? Do you think that he's definitely the man to take them forward?
I think you're very good at what you do and very clever, and you threw the word insignificant there. No, so I have to now say, no, there hasn't been a significant improvement. There obviously has in output, but then I take your point that, they were losing every week. But sometimes, and we saw Southampton and Leicester and Ipswich have horrible, horrible runs, and sometimes you can't turn it round, can you? And even get it to the point where you get some draws and you get some clean sheets. But yeah, you're right to point out, Connor, that 1 in the win column in 22 games is pretty exceptionally terrible. But I don't know, they could still trend towards Matt keeps bringing up that points record. They could still trend to a respectable total somewhere between above that points total and what the Championship promoted clubs put out last season.
Yeah, Matt, I feel like you were trying to antagonize the situation now, and this is what you're very good at, Matt, antagonizing. I
was going to, I
want to throw something at you. How about this? I want to ask you a question. So do you think Rob Edwards in the Championship, which is where Wolves are going, do you think he is the man to get them back up? Because that will be obviously the objective. Or would you look at, and which we've seen clubs do crazier things before, would you look to getting into the summer and moving Rob Edwards on, and then maybe getting another man to get them back up?
Surely the thinking behind bringing him in and his logic for going there is, if they go down, he's still going to be there. It's not quite like an Ivan Juric at Southampton last season, which felt like can he just keep them up? No, right, move on. So I don't know. I mean, looking ahead to next season in the Championship, Connor, it could be a really stacked division. If we've got 2 or 3 of our parachute teams not going up this season, and then you send 3 more down,
it's going to be hard to finish above Coventry next season, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll build again.
Very good. I don't know. I mean, a top 6 finish with budget and squad size is definitely the objective, but it's going to be a strong division. Burnley are always pretty sound in the Championship, and if West Ham go down, there'll be a real juggernaut. I was going to say, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Wolves' recent upturn. They have been better. Do you reckon the mental side comes into it a little bit, that they're now virtually relegated? It's taken the pressure off. And we saw this last season, Ben.
Point. Yeah.
Do you remember when Ipswich played Southampton in February? And Ipswich still had a chance, but Southampton were kind of dead and buried. And Southampton went and won at Ipswich, even though it was a bigger game for Ipswich. You can get the teams when there's no pressure on them anymore, because they're pretty much written off. They can start to trend up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you know what I'm going to say now? I was going to raise that when I was thinking about the show earlier, and then I forgot that point. And then as soon as you said it, I was going to say that. And now it looks like I'm just, going on your coattails here. But no, it is definitely a thing, isn't it? When that pressure gets off.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just having a look at their next fixtures. Obviously, they've got Man City away, so presumably this run's going to come to an end. But then they've still got Bournemouth coming up, Chelsea, Wolves. So yeah, maybe that. I mean, do we think Wolves are going to get out of this? Just a simple yes or no?
No.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, Wolves fans, but yeah, there you go. Dose of reality. Right, moving on upwards. Burnley. Result for them at the weekend away at Liverpool. In recent times, obviously they've got a point against Man United as well. Mattisby, Burnley. I'm just gonna move this on. There was a brilliant little bit of X factor from Marcus Edwards. I've tried to plead with Scott Parker, if he ever watches 3 at the Back, which I'm sure he does. I've tried to plead them to start Marcus Edwards. There is that X factor there, a brilliant finish at the weekend. he's got to start him obviously more consistently, which I know the Burnley fans have been a little bit vocal about. He's the connector between the midfield and the attack. There is that, the exuberance with him a little bit, and he brings a bit of pizzazz to that team. But it still feels, Matt, in this window, there needs to. I mean, look, we're talking. We'll get onto West Ham in a little bit, but we're talking about West Ham being they're only 3 points ahead of Burnley, but we're talking about West Ham as if they can still get out of this. If, West Ham are catching Forest, then potentially Leeds. It's only 3 points between Burnley and West Ham United. But it feels like you just look at that squad of West Ham's and the depth and obviously caliber within that depth that they've got. Burnley still just feels, and it's boring to talk about, but we've not got enough evidence that they're winning games to say to us, oh, well, they've got enough quality anyway. There's still a bit of a parity there, isn't there, between them and West Ham, even though there's not a parity in points.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though they're very 19th, and I think that's really where they're going to stay. I do think they've got enough in them to just stay ahead of Wolves. But you're right, Connor, if you sprinkled on a little bit more stardust onto this team, it can level up with West Ham in terms of the points in the table, and then you've got a chance, because we're all looking at West Ham still thinking there's a way out for them potentially. Yeah. So I've not been completely ready to say Burnley are completely done, but they're not 90%, 95%. They're just getting the odd draw to keep them in it. And I mean, we've had a great weekend for all of our teams down here at the bottom. With Leeds and West Ham winning, maybe this draw for Burnley's not been such a positive, when most weeks, if you go to Liverpool and you're in the bottom three, that's a really good result. And this was the only way they were going to get something, wasn't it, Connor? Liverpool being wasteful, they miss a penalty, and they did get the goal through Wirtz, and then Burnley get one through Edwards. I mean, look at the underlying numbers of this game. This is very Burnley, isn't it? 0.4 XG against, 3.2 for Liverpool. So Burnley have done a job. Credit to them. It's another point on the board. I think it's back-to-back draws. But I said on a video the other day, the only thing that's sort of keeping them in this is Forest haven't been winning much.
Yeah.
If Forest go and win a game before Burnley win a game, then that gap goes to 10 points, and that really does feel like curtains. So a positive result for Burnley, but the results really did conspire against them.
Well, we'll just go in on that, and I'll fire it back to you again, Matt. Spurs, who are hideous at the minute, and who I won 20 quid. Well, I put 20 quid on, won a significant amount of money off the back of West Ham beating Spurs, because I just think any bottom basement side going to Spurs at the minute are going to get something. Burnley have got Spurs at home. Are we talking about, and it's your, I know I'm going to get a smile from Benjamin Bloom over there now. Matt, are we talking about must-win territory in this game right now?
No, surely. No, we are. I mean, surely. I know,
ding, 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 ding.
I know we're January, but if we don't start calling games must-wins now, then we get to a point in April where they have to win 5 out of 6. So
but it's crazy. We're talking about Tottenham at home, isn't it? When you're thinking, back of a 0-0, whatever it was it a 0-0 against Man United, or 1-1 against Man United, I think it was. And then you're looking at,
2-2.
Was it 2-2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 2-2. Apologies. And then obviously going to Liverpool, the 1-1 at the weekend. You kind of got to be looking at this and thinking you can compete, and Spurs are on a one-way ticket, it feels, at the minute.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? Because you'd imagine a draw against Man United, a draw against Liverpool, and then a draw against Tottenham would be 3 really good results for teams down at the bottom. But I agree, they've got to go for the kill here, and it's a good time to play Spurs, surely. I mean, Spurs are in action in the Champions League coming into this one. They've got to put their focus into that Borussia Dortmund game, which could take it out of them. So it's there for Burnley, and I don't think a draw's enough this time. We've said the odd draw is keeping them going, but it's got to be a win, because are we at 12 or 13 without a win now? That's too long.
I think
it's got to get the win.
Yeah, I think it could be 13. And Ben, I'm just having a quick look here. You look at Burnley, Tottenham, Sunderland, Burnley, who Burnley won that reverse fixture. It's crazy to say that now, isn't it?
In the next one, Connor.
And then you got Burnley, West Ham.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you even look at Palace, Burnley. With the issues that they're having with Gahey at the minute, potentially Glasner. I mean, these are huge games for them, aren't they, Ben? It feels critical for the Clarets right now.
Yeah, it's hard though, Connor, because I'm going to make the argument you made and probably beat me with last time, where I was trying to be positive about Man United, and you said, oh. So they've gone ahead via a deflection, kind of hung in there, then got a good goal themselves and managed to get a point. And like Matt laid out the Liverpool game, you face a missed pen, there's a goal disallowed at the end. You look at all the underlying numbers, and okay, there was actually another chance where if Edwards had squared it up, I think Anthony's got a tap in as well. I did like the limbs in the Burnley end, and you just don't want a vaguely fortuitous draw at Liverpool to be your best away end of the. Well, they did have a win at Wolves, didn't they? That might be their best away limbs of the season. But you feel like, Connor, things are actually going for them, which results in draws and 13 games without a win or whatever the number is that we're agreeing on. So that makes me think and I don't want to hark back to mine and Matt's misery, in the promoted teams last season, where we're like, right, here's a potential winnable game. And then just time after time, our teams down the bottom there weren't able to get the win. So my trust is fairly low. And you're kind of right, Connor. It's probably more chance of them beating Spurs and Palace than there is Sunderland and West Ham, just because of that head-to-head filth, bottom six, head-to-head focus that those teams down there have, that maybe, Spurs, their fans are distracted and, maybe...
Ben, how would it feel, though? If they got, I mean, Matt's just mentioned this. They've got kind of like a 19th feel about them, haven't they?
They do, yeah.
If they got back-to-back wins in a hypothetical world, which could happen right here, let's say they beat Spurs and then they beat Sunderland, which is going to be tough, but it could happen. You never know, mysterious world of football. But if that did happen, I would still be on Matt's kind of idea of them still feeling a bit 19th. They're still feeling, even if they were to go to ahead of West Ham, which is crazy
Connor,
at a point.
The reason you are right is they did win back-to-back games earlier in the season. Do you know what happened after they did that? They lost the next 7 in a row. So it's then, which says that, it could be, you can get the lightning in a bottle, the flash in the pan, use whatever cliche fits. But then can you go ahead and back it up? Look, I'm always behind the EFL teams, you know me, but I'm not feeling it. I like this idea of 19th that you're not the worst team in the league, but are you good enough to challenge survival? Possibly not.
Moving on. Lions. Unbelievable week for West Ham United, you would say. Apparently there is now a reversal in Callum Wilson. Unfortunately for you, Max, you were one of the rumoured clubs. But Callum Wilson is set to stay at West Ham United, which I'll be honest, lads, I think it's like a new signing. That I think that was his 5th goal at the weekend. I could not believe they were thinking in a relegation battle, if he's fit, of getting rid of him. And they've got these 2 players who've come in Pablo and Tati Castellanos, but there's no proof. I don't really like the look of that Pablo so far. I think Castellanos is a good presser, but he's not got a history of goal scoring. Callum Wilson has that in the Premier League, so keeping hold of him feels big. Obviously, them getting 2 wins back to back. I know it's the FA Cup, but the FA Cup builds confidence. I said this previously, that you get a win in the look. Leeds lost to Newcastle in a back-to-back game, of which we were gutted at the end of it. But then we went to Derby, went 1-0 down, and on the watch on, I said, you kind of need to win this, because you don't want it to be back-to-back losses. You beat Derby, then you go and beat Fulham. So I think winning the FA Cup was huge for West Ham. They then went into this game, which once again, Spurs, it did feel like a must-win for West Ham, like we were speaking about with Wolves. It was with Wolves, wasn't it? With Wolves and Burnley, it feels like you kind of get into must-win territory at the minute with the gap that's forming. West Ham did that, especially with Leeds winning, because that had been 10 points between Leeds and West Ham there. An absolutely huge goal for Callum Wilson. And I'm really fascinated to get both of your thoughts on West Ham right now, because as we just said, they're 3 points ahead of Burnley. We're talking about Burnley having a 19th feel about them. There just seems to have, I'll come to you, Ben, there is a lot of quality in that West Ham side when we're talking about Matías Fernandes, when we're talking about Crescencio Somerville, who seems to be getting into form now, Jared Bowen, Callum Wilson. There seems to be enough there, Ben, to get them out of this.
Well, can I take you back to our conversation about executive structure, sporting directors, and terrible organisation? Have we not been proved completely right with this nonsense with Callum Wilson, that this is just a ludicrous way to be operating? He's been released. No, he's not. He's playing. No, we want him. Sign him back, And you've already mentioned having dropped tens of millions on 2 strikers early. So we got some good feedback from the West Ham fans after that conversation, actually. So I think maybe that exemplifies you always say the top-down issues, Connor, don't you?
Yeah.
Have you been a bit distracted here, Con, with this Spurs win? First goal's deflected. They've won in the 93rd minute against a team that really struggles with these. It's weird how it goes with stadium moves. Sometimes it's the making of a club, but sometimes, it doesn't work at all, does it? And, West Ham fans can speak to that, can't
it's like
they?
the pinnacle, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I didn't realise I was making that point as I was making it, but it stands up, doesn't it? And then a late winner as well. Is this a viable
I think
continue?
I think that's a really fair point. I guess my rhetoric with West Ham is maybe being formed by watching West Ham relatively consistently because of the battle that we're in at this moment in time, and it might be staged, lads, to be one of the best relegation battles we've seen in years. I mean, bearing in mind Leicester finished the season on 25 points, Leeds United as an example already on that. Forest aren't far behind. West Ham aren't far behind. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation when it comes to how it's going to formulate towards the back end of the season. But I remember watching the Forest game, and I kept saying this. I know we did the review on it. They lost that game, but they were the better team. They were in control up until that VAR decision, and I thought they deserved at least a point out of that. I watched the QPR game. It's QPR, isn't it? With the greatest of respect, there's a big difference between the two teams in terms of quality. And then, watch this game at the weekend, extended highlights. They look like they deserve to win this game. So I think there's something there for West Ham to build on. And I guess I'm looking at historical context, which is West Ham and the Great Escapes, which always seems to be part of their DNA in a sense. But and I think that's a really good point though, Ben. I think it's important not to get carried away. I also think it's going to take a lot when there's a 5-point difference. We've got to take into account goal difference as well between them and Forest. I don't think Forest are a poor team. I think they've got enough in reserve as well to be able to pick up points, especially at the City ground, which is something to take into context because overturning that's going to be huge. Then you look at Leeds, and overturning that is going to be massive. I guess if you're a West Ham fan, you're just thinking, if we can get Leeds intertwined with us and we have them on the last day of the season, all at the London State, who's going to stay up an actual, a 50-50 shootout, then we'll see what happens. But it still feels, Ben, and yeah, I mean, what do you think, mate? It still does feel that there's going to be a lot to do for West Ham. I've seen a lot of West Ham fans saying in the remaining games, they need to win 8 games.
It's interesting you say about the last day of the season, because yes, of course you would want that game played at Elland Road. But by the same token, if you could pick a Premier League team to play away in a survival head-to-head, other than Spurs, who we just mentioned, it probably would be West Ham, wouldn't it? So and I know I don't want to tread on the topic that you've got prepped, but dare I say, certain teams have maybe been a bit caught out, or certain ownerships this season with the sheer level of competition put up by particularly Sunderland and Leeds.
Yeah.
That they've been caught with their pants down a little bit, because I know no one would ever publicly say it, but there must be conversations that take place even at an executive level of, oh, come on, how bad? And I said it at the start of the season, how bad do you have to be to go down?
And is it that is it comfortable, Ben?
Yeah,
exactly. You see the last 2 seasons and you see how it's gone, and you think, promoted teams coming up to the Premier League, it's not going to get like that again. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, that's what arrogance, naivety.
Yeah, it was like you literally had to put up a 2 out of 10 performance or something to go down. And whereas if you're not 5, 6 out of 10 this season, you're dropping, aren't you?
Definitely. How do you say? I find this conversation fascinating, Matt, probably because it draws in the other teams as well. And we've just spoken about the context with Burnley as well. But what's your view on West Ham at this moment in time? Because Ben has just mentioned the home form. I mean, in the last obviously Burnley and Newcastle was quite a bit ago, wasn't it? But picking up a home win again against QPR, I guess that's 3 home wins. I know it's a couple of different competitions, but it's not the nil point. Kind of conversation and context that people seem to think with West Ham. I don't know. Maybe there's something there for them. What do you think? Or do you think it's going to take an almighty push for them to finish above Forest and Leeds? But then it's only 5 points.
Yeah, but one game can change everything, can't it? It does feel like the scene changes quite a bit with that win. The manner of the win, as you say, Connor, the Callum Wilson U-turn. It feels like 1 week has really changed things at West Ham, and we were all a bit down on them last week. I take your point that the FA Cup win could play its part because they got that win over QPR, which gave them a little bit of momentum. But I wasn't totally sold on them in that game, even though they did get the win. The thing is, I think from your perspective, Connor, as a Leeds fan, because you've got a horse in the race, you're really worrying about West Ham. Whereas I suppose we can look at it maybe.
It's a bit like you with Ipswich. It's a bit like you with Ipswich, isn't it?
No, I accept that. I'm probably worrying more about Ipswich than Ben thinks Ipswich have a chance of catching Coventry, if that makes sense, compared to where we see that. So, but from an outside perspective, I'm still looking at that gap there. So I get your concerns, Connor, and it's the manner of the goal. It was bittersweet weekend as well, wasn't it? Because all these teams got their own result, and then they're looking at the other results on their phone and going, "Oh, hang on, that's not gone to plan." So everyone's kind of stayed where they are. The team, with West Ham winning, it does feel like West Ham are the interesting team in this discussion, though, because they are going to dictate where that line goes to. If we agree that Wolves and Burnley are 19th, then we've got West Ham dictating where it gets to. And I think at this time last year, we had Ipswich and Leicester on 19, 20 points, and we thought they were in this, and they really sort of flatlined in the final few games. So are West Ham going to flatline, in which case Leeds and Forest survive comfortably, or is this a result they can build on? It does look viable, though. I don't know if that's because Spurs are so bad, but West Ham deserved this win, didn't they? They took the lead and they created better chances. And although they've snatched it at the end, it's not like if Burnley had won at Liverpool, that would have been a proper smash and grab. This felt more viable. So I get your worries, Connor, but I'm still not. I still think Leeds and Forest at the moment have got more about them. I will say that West Ham Sunderland's an interesting one at the weekend because Sunderland I definitely trust, and we'll come on to them later. If West Ham win that game, back-to-back wins really do make a difference.
Yeah, maybe. But it's 3 wins on the bounce then, isn't it, in all competitions, if one includes the FA Cup. Can we just really quickly talk about Spurs? And this wasn't in the running order, but maybe it should be. I'm just going to flag this up, okay? And this is something that I was looking at a little bit earlier on, and Matt has triggered my thought process a little bit. Tottenham Dortmund this evening, Burnley Tottenham, Frankfurt Tottenham, Tottenham City, Man United Tottenham, Newcastle Tottenham, Tottenham Arsenal, Liverpool Tottenham, Fulham Tottenham. That is a horrific run of fixtures. Tottenham, where they finished last season, was not great. Obviously, they had I felt all their eggs were in one basket a little bit when it came to European competition. Are we actually having a conversation at this point if they keep Thomas Frank? Obviously, they've got mass injuries at this moment in time. A lot of them long-term injuries, Kulusevski, Maddison, etc. Are we genuinely talking about Tottenham Hotspur again being down and in and amongst the relegation fight, Ben Bloom?
You kind of get to the point where it's a couple of seasons running and consecutive managers where you say, all that time, was it just Kane and Son just pulling the rest of them, forward? Because, you've got 2 world-class players, and then all of a sudden those go. And yeah, you're right to point out Richarlison. So this is the injuries from the last game. Kudus, Bentancur, Maddison, Kulusevski, Paulinho, Pape Sarr on international duty. But I don't know. I never like to go down the injuries thing because you speak to, doing this job, that without fail, 99% of fans think their goalkeeper's the best goalkeeper in whatever league they're in, and 99% of fans think their club's got an injury crisis 80% of the time. So
their goalkeeper is terrible, to be fair.
Yeah, so maybe they're the 1%. But do you know what I mean? Sometimes you hear so much about the injury crisis that literally every club in the league has got that you almost go, well, okay, if every club's got an injury crisis, then it doesn't matter then, does it? Because it evens itself out, and nobody's got any players, and we're all hard done by, and boo-hoo, I'm a football fan. Do you know what I mean? But there's still ridiculous quality in there, isn't there? And ridiculous spend in there. So I don't know. Is it a psychological thing? Is it the stadium thing? Is it the weight of being the nearly men? And Dare I mention the big person who left Spurs this season is Daniel Levy, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know. Is there a ownership thing? Do the big guys they're out in the Bahamas or something? Is it being prepped to sell, and is everything a little bit left in limbo until such times? I don't know. Is there something bigger than the players or the manager? Because I want to say right now, I bloody love Thomas Frank, and this is annoying to me to see him. I didn't even click on the video because I was like, I don't want to watch that. Carragher predicts Frank will be sacked or whatever. And it's like, that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, I think the alarming thing is, and we have to put context onto this, right? I mean, if they go out and get Xabi Alonso after Dortmund, then it's a completely different conversation, of course. But we're talking about Thomas Frank right now. It's clearly a conservative defensive mould of which adapted very, very well when we looked at Brentford and how well they did. I think it's interesting when you're looking at Brentford now and the points per game, their home record, which, by the way, lads, their home record is on par with Aston Villa's this season. It's 2 points in terms of the amount of points they've got at home behind Man City. That's how good they've been at home. So, and then you kind of look at the other side of it. Tottenham have won as many games at home as West Ham, Burnley, and one more game won at home than Wolves. And you just kind of look at it, the 17th in the home form table. The morale around the club is hideous at this moment in time. And obviously they get rid of Frank, but on the pretense that they keep hold of Frank, Matt, I had a look through the results and I was doing a bit of a table predictor for Leeds the other night, which the outcome was ridiculous. But anyway.
Is it going down to the stoppage time on the last day of the season?
No, it's the complete opposite. And it's Connor the Optimist, which never is what happens. Sunderland fans might like that one as well. But and I was looking at Spurs' games, and by the end of it, I had them under Thomas Frank right now, which they are, right in the midst of it, Matt SB. They were right in it.
I agree with Ben's point that now it's a second season running, it is more worrying. Last season felt a bit like, they really prioritised the Europa League, so the league fall off was a bit more understandable.
And Matt as well, they're too attacking last season, they're too defensive this season. It can't be all things, can it?
No, exactly. It is probably a bit of a shock to the system for Spurs, though, to go from one extreme to the other. But you got to remember the gap between 18th and 17th last year was massive. Spurs did finish 17th, but they were never really in danger of going down. This time round, I mean, to answer Connor's question, they're 10 points above the bottom three. I tend to think that's pretty all right. But it comes down to West Ham again. I mean, Spurs could, as you said, Connor, with really difficult games, only win one of their next six. But if West Ham win only one of their next six, then that's not really going to close the gap up, is it? But there is a real risk. I think Spurs could finish 15th or 16th if we continue to see a trend from Leeds and Forest. And I would imagine, Connor, and I agree with Ben, I don't really want to see Jamie Carragher saying, Frank's getting sacked here. But if they lose to Burnley and say they lose to Dortmund, I don't know if we're going to see him next week.
I'm not having a pop at Carragher. It's just disappointing.
No, I know.
His opinion,
yeah. And
I won't worry, Ben. I won't worry, Ben. He's not going to say this. Who knows?
He did like one of my tweets once.
Did he?
Actually?
50,000 tweets I've ever sent in my life. But,
wow, there you go. Claim to fame. Yeah. Right, okay, moving on then. I just thought it was important for us talking about Spurs because, I mean, I just feel under Frank anyway with these next five, it's going to be fascinating to see where they end up if he is in charge. But let's move on to the team in 17th, Nottingham Forest. Really good result, Matt. Really good result. Home at Arsenal. You can't... you can't really ask for anything. But I thought from the 30th minute onwards, which I'll be honest is when I tuned in to this Forest game, I didn't ever feel like, apart from the Martinelli chance, I didn't really feel like that they were in threat. They were at threat. And what I will say, Sangare being back, massive, absolutely massive in that midfield.
I was just about to mention that. That's his first game back from AFCON, and look at the result they've picked up here. And they look like the Forest of last season, where they're heading and kicking stuff away, and they're actually really solid at the back. And it almost feels as though the opponent suited Forest, I suppose. It was a very Sean Dyche result, wasn't it? And critical, really. I wonder if the Forest players and people connected to Forest looking at, because this game was 5:30, looking at the earlier results. Oh God, Leeds last-minute winner, West Ham last-minute winner. We actually have to get something here because usually when you come up against Arsenal and you're in a relegation run, it's a free pass, and we say, look, let's just hope the other results don't go against you. But they did, and then they've capitalised, and they were worth it. You're right, Connor. They frustrated Arsenal. Arsenal got away with it as well because obviously Man City lost this weekend, so it's kind of like an okay result all round. But Sangara being back was great. Still have reservations over them going forwards, but I didn't think they'd create a lot in this game. So with the window still being open for the next 12 days, they can maybe address that. And
Josh Sargent, Matt?
I don't know. Not totally sold on that. I suppose he hasn't really dipped his toes massively in the Premier League. He had the one season with Norwich.
I've gone with it on my transfer video on my channel today, so can you tickle it a little bit more, please?
They need a goal scorer.
Thank you, Matt.
Does he fit their mould though? I don't know. When's Chris Wood back? By the way, that feels like it's always felt. But
isn't Igor Jesus? He's a hard worker. He's a good presser. He's half decent at hold up play. I know the goals. It's what he judged on as a number 9, of course. But I see him as quite a similar player. I mentioned this quite a lot on my channel. There's like a facilitator and there's a runner, and that's kind of the little and large thing in the front too. I see kind of the likes of Igor Jesus and Josh Sargent as like runners. I know Sargent's pretty physical, but in the Premier League, it's going to be a lot tougher for him. I don't know. Profile-wise, I guess it's similar to Jesus, but I don't know why they get one in over the other. Isn't because he's a goal scorer, but then if Jesus was in the Championship, would he be a goal scorer because of the quality parity again? I don't know. But yeah, I guess Ben, talking about Forest anyway, I guess it's an encouraging sign though, isn't it? I think getting a point at home, for me anyway, the champions elect is a huge result, and it's definitely something for them to build on. Yeah,
I take Matt's point that weirdly it's almost an okay opponent, isn't it? Because you know exactly what you're going to get, but you do have to defend the set plays. Did the Martinelli chance come from a set play or a second phase?
Let's just say probably.
Yeah. So if Martinelli doesn't stick that wide, in many universes and parallel existences, that's just a normal standard Arsenal win with a set play goal.
George Graham, 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Clean sheet, classic. Yeah. One thing I do love is when a tackle gets a big cheer, and Murillo's chasing back. goes in for the big. To be fair, he gave it away in the first place and makes.
Did you see the Nico Williams one where it was Martinelli who was wide right and just both of them charged towards him? I think Nico Williams put it on his social media as well.
But we're joking about it. But if you're down at the bottom and you're playing Arsenal, then that's the stuff that gets you your clean sheet and because we have this thing sometimes with clubs near the bottom of the Premier League of. You're kind of just waiting for the big teams to win, aren't you? And you lose faith. And we talk about Leeds in a bit, won't we? And Sunderland, for sure, have not been welcoming hosts and have made it noisy and uncomfortable. But, yeah, they're tracking at the point per game, couple of good results. We do tend to conclude these things about Forest and say that probably not necessarily best squad, but pound for pound, the 11s, definitely one of the best in the bottom half. Am I exaggerating that too much? I know you've got Brighton in there at the moment and Spurs when you factor in the injuries, but yeah, I've not at any point been worried about Forest this season. I don't know whether that makes me a fool.
No, I think as well they're looking at Lorenzo Luca, aren't they, at Napoli, which is a striker that they're willing to spend 35 million euros on, which again, it's Mr. Marinakis. Thank you very much. Some more quality and depth.
By the way, can I just raise? So we got criticised in the comments the other week. I think it was genuine, reasonable comment when we were saying who's the most likely manager to most likely owner to have 3 managers. We all said Mr. Marinakis, and someone said, "Oh, don't tell me he doesn't care about the club." None of us were saying that. No. We're just saying he's a ruthless guy who.
That's why he cares about the club. That's why he cares about the club.
That was almost underlining our point. So it wasn't made in a trolley way, the point, but I just wanted to kind of stand up for us 3 that you can think Mr. Marinakis is ruthless and the most likely owner to have 3 managers and really think he cares about the club and has poured money in and ultimately been a huge net gain for Forest. So I just wanted to address that. I know there's sometimes a bit of soft snobbery about foreign owners still, even though a lot of them are foreign, or the majority of them are foreign now. But I Well, I think I've said my piece. We weren't saying anything untoward. No. Didn't care or anything.
There is this. There could be an absolute relegation battle on our hands here, where this is one for the ages. I thought Matt Sells as well at the weekend he's just a monster, isn't he, Matt Sells? He's a freakish human being, Matt Sells. He's built like a cupboard.
Can I ask you guys a very YouTube-styled question here? Although Forest...
ranking Forest.
Well, I was going to say Forest obviously didn't win this weekend, but do we think?
I need to do this as you're asking.
Out of the bottom 5, do we think Forest got the best result this weekend?
I think Leeds did, but we're going to go on to it, aren't we?
Yeah, or I'd maybe argue West Ham, just because the importance of it with the context.
I see where you're going with it, Matt, though.
Yeah. Okay.
There might be intangible things that happen after this game because they've not lost to Arsenal that happened, but on the actual day, the result in isolation. That's a very un-YouTubey, pretentious answer.
But yeah, just touching on the Lorenzo Luca signing as well. It's going to be interesting because I don't think he's been in hot form this season for Napoli. Very good for Udinese previously, but not great for Napoli, which Forest fans might be a little bit perturbed by. Could you have spent that somewhere else? There's Jørgen Strand Larsen. There's a title for me, Jørgen Strand Larsen out there. But anyway, moving swiftly on to Leeds United. An absolutely chaotic winner at Ellen Road. And Ellen Road is becoming a fortress. 5 wins.
Oh, sorry, Connor. What a goal. How has he put that in that corner
terrible.
from there?
He was terrible. He was awful. You know, he was getting absolute pelters on my watch wrong. He looked drunk when he came on. Lucas Mecha.
We surely need to throw an allegedly in there somewhere before you're calling your players drunk.
That's surely with a bottle of vodka on the side. I'd have given him more, to be fair, plaudits if he had a bottle of vodka, because he just looked drunk. He was giving everything away. Honestly, lads, it looked like a shocking substitution. And then, like Ben said, what a finish. What an unbelievable finish. And it's a big result for Leeds, because obviously we saw what happened at West Ham. And you know, if that gap had been closed, Leeds obviously just do not want that gap to be closed whatsoever. But from a generalised perspective, I know we've been speaking about the relegation fight and all this sort of stuff. There's Leeds fans talking about, you know, looking up. I mean, we're 2 points behind Spurs and Bournemouth, and then we're focused naturally because we've all, you two as well, have covered Leeds for many years and have seen how Leeds make things extremely nail biting and don't do things the easy way. So I'm still looking at 8 points, 9 points with goal difference, West Ham United. But there's a conversation that Leeds could just, I don't know, have a nice chilled end to this Premier League season, which would be very nice, but I doubt it's going to be the case, Ben.
Leeds don't do chill, do they? I noticed how you're allowed to say that, but Daniel Farke wasn't at the end of last season, according to all the Leeds fans. Yeah, you're obviously both right. Connor, I love everything about this result. I love the fact of how necessary it was, given the round of results. I love the fact it's a last-minute winner. If I get my Daniel Farke posters out, I love the fact it's a substitute. And he obviously set in his own narrative, but he pointed out that he could have shored it up and made different subs at the end. But, you know, you always look pretty smart when your substitute scores the winning goal in stoppage time. And I think the thing I love the most about it is it's just not a smash and grab, is it? It's a deserved win. And
yeah, Leeds deserved it. And a bit of context as well. Fulham was second in the form table in the Premier League going into that.
Exactly. Aronson skied one in the first half that he's been in good form that he could have scored. Calvert-Lewin had that one on the near post, and you know the two players at the moment you probably want them to fall to both miss, and you're kind of looking at it, you think it's a 0-0. And don't forget, remember Leeds played all right at Fulham, and that was that ridiculously unlucky own goal that went in to lose the game there. So everything about this is fantastic. And the fact that we are now not seeing, and we talk about the Sunderland win as well, we're not coming on here going, oh, wow, amazing. Leeds won a game. Sunderland, we're like, no, Leeds won. They deserved it. Yeah. They're in good form. This is where we are now, and this is what we've got. And come on, man, Connor, 25 points at 22 games. You'd have taken 25 points at 27 games before the season, wouldn't you, with win the next one, and you're at a point per game. This is great, absolutely fantastic. And I'm working on the apology to Rob Edwards, and I feel I've half got the one on Daniel Farker already. What a manager, Matt SB.
Yeah, do you know what? You're right. I was going to come on to performance because they thoroughly deserved this win. And 1 defeat in 10 now as well, Connor. You're right about that Derby win. Kind of crucial, really, isn't it? After the Newcastle game, because it got that.
We shouldn't have lost that either. We shouldn't have lost that.
I know. But it got the winning feeling back, and you had to be patient. And do you know what, Connor? I'm going to bow to your superior predictions here because
thank you.
I had this one as a draw, and I also thought West Ham would draw at Spurs. And I was thinking to myself, a draw wouldn't be bad for Leeds in that instance. But it's a good job you got this winner because of the goal going in down at West Ham, down at Tottenham. Just literally, it was minutes later, wasn't it? So a great result for Leeds, Connor. And I agree with those people saying, pull some more teams above you in. There's safety in numbers. If you can overtake Bournemouth, who are going through a tricky spell at the minute, they got a point last night, but conceded late on, and Spurs, who we've highlighted for all the wrong reasons, pull them in. There's more teams to shoot at for West Ham. And I think we're worrying about West Ham quite a lot more than we would if it was Burnley in 18th, because of them being a non-promoted team. You just have that trust with a Premier League regular that they can go and win 3 in a row. But Leeds have earned a lot of people's trust with the run they've gone on recently. So,
do you remember Wolves last year, Matt? They had a ridiculous run, didn't they?
Did 5 out the last 7.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure they did that without Cunha.
Yes, they did. They were better without him, actually. But
Wolves fan, Matt.
Leeds are in a great position, Connor. And if you're saying West Ham have to get 6 wins, so what would that get them? 38, 39 points. Then Leeds need 3 or 4. And with 16 games to go, that is massively doable.
Yeah, it's a big turn, isn't it? And I think we've always Matt, you'll look at a little bit more next season, obviously, if Coventry get there and don't bottle it. Obviously,
hang on, I'm a Wolves fan. Remember?
Sorry,
literally can't mention Coventry without using the word bottle. It's hilarious.
Connor loves Frank Lampard. That's what it is.
Yeah. I liked Coventry before that, but Ben, obviously, we speak a lot about what you need to stay up, and I think at the very beginning of the season, I'm pretty sure we were on one of these shows, and we murmured the fact that it'd be maybe like sort of 10, 11 wins that you'd need to stay in the division. Leeds already have 6. And at this moment in time, you kind of look at the games that Leeds have got remaining at home, which I think is what Leeds have got to be targeting. You got Wolves, Burnley, Brighton, Brentford, Sunderland, maybe, which, we gave them a really good game up at the Stadium of Light. We had players missing, they did, obviously. And then Forest at home as well. So you're kind of looking at those games, a couple of games on the road. You still got West Ham away. So there's games there, and you never know, like Forest have proven, and maybe top teams, when they have an off day, you might be able to nick a 1-0, you might be able to nick a 2-1, and it feels like we've got that in our arsenal this season. I think provided the team stays the way it is and we're playing to this level, Ben, it feels like it's going to take a lot for Leeds maybe not to stay in the division. I mean, how many points do we realistically need to stay in the division? Is it 35? Is it 36? I guess we'll never know. It could be the best relegation battle of all time. We might be talking about 40 points. Who knows?
I'm going to do one of my ridiculous tangents where you look at me like I've absolutely lost my mind, but in the end, I get to the point, Connor.
Right, okay.
So, sometimes I'm quite short. Sometimes my weight goes up and down, look a bit chubby in the face. When you're trying to lose weight, some people sometimes say, stop paying attention to the scales, stop looking at the data. How do you feel? Are you comfortable when you put your clothes on? Do you feel good? And I need you to stop looking at the scales. You're looking at all these fixtures, you're looking at the table, and we were talking about it's 10 wins and 5 draws to take you to 35 points.
But I'm a fat piece of shit.
I've met you, and you are a hunking figure of a man. He's quite jacked, Connor. For someone who sits in a chair and works 18 hours a day, I'm not sure how he's managed that, but there you go. Creatine is a wonderful thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, back onto your analogy.
Other supplements are available. But the point was, regardless of all the projections and looking at all the fixtures, the fact that we can sit here now and feel good and confident about Leeds, I think is the main is the main driver here. That, there's been, obviously we've talked a lot about the clear turning point and the Man City halftime and all of this. I love the Leeds fans that are like, see, Farker, if you'd just done what we'd said all along, this football manager who's, his life's work just needed to listen to these Leeds
But
fans.
do you not think though, like what I will say is football fans are always, I think, as by the general media, are made out to be like thickos, idiots, morons. Like, a lot of football fans do get things right. I see it all the time.
Football fans do get things right. They're not thick. They're not morons, but they are highly emotional and often highly irrational. And
I don't know about that.
I
think all
say
football fans are rational. Every single one of them.
Okay, I thought I was going to have to defend my position there. And look, the emotion of the game is the greatest thing. And in some ways, it gets ruined for the likes of us three because we're sitting there, right? Okay, so I've got to analyze all of these teams and find out all the stats, and it takes the emotion out of it. Yeah, of course, football fans are right, but I think we need to respect often the lifetime's work that football managers have put in to make these decisions, and the amount of thought that's probably gone into a decision that's very easy for you or I to type in the YouTube comments what a football manager should do when our life's work and livelihood are not on the line. But anyway, I'm not having a pop at football fans. I'm not having a pop at Leeds fans. I'm saying that the fact that we can feel so confident about this, that we feel good in our clothes, that we don't need to go on the relegation scales, Connor, to bring it back round, I think is the main point here.
Yeah, definitely.
You're still upset at me about saying football fans might sometimes be irrational.
I just think every single football fan is always so rational in life. I think it's quite interesting though when you're talking about that. I mean, I remember the West Ham fans when Nuno started playing Irving and who was the other one? Souček in the midfield at Brentford and Leeds, and West Ham fans are like, just play a flat three of Potts, Magassa, and Matías Fernandes. And obviously, that point onwards, it feels like West Ham fans got it right, and the midfield looks a lot stronger. Play Wilson in the 9, not Bowen in the 9. But yeah, no, I do take your point, mate. And football fans do think they know all, and it's because we'll be here long after
we
those managers will be.
We wouldn't have gigs here on YouTube if football fans didn't think they knew everything.
Exactly. And Matt is constantly, and he gets quite jarring in the group chat, constantly slagging Frank Lampard off Football Park. So let's, last but not least, anyway, Sunderland. Players coming back from AFCON. Siddiqui coming back in, slotting in absolutely perfectly well again. Ronaldo back into proceedings as well, slotting in very nicely. They'll be getting Bertrand Traore back, Talby back. Don't look like they're doing anything in the window, which is fine, but it feels like these could effectively be like new signings for them. Brian Broby looked, I mean...
Did he mean to put that goal where it went?
He just kind of flicked it. He just kind of like flicked it, didn't he? It was great, but he looks. I mean, he's a terrifying footballer, by the way. He's just an absolute behemoth of a man. But yeah, I mean, they all just look like they're acclimatizing. They look confident. They look sure of themselves. And the stadium alike, I think that they've got the 5th best home record in the division at this moment in time. Picked up 20+ points at home. Away from home, they look a nightmare as well. They look difficult to beat. They can change the game, but they can bring Gertruder on. They can bring other wingers on. They've dealt with this period very, very nicely. I said this yesterday on my weekend review, Ben. I'm kind of running out of superlatives, really. I don't really know what else to talk on.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, all of your superlatives can line up. We do have to say, what a weird Palace where, the manager is essentially coming out afterwards and having a go at the owners about selling the captain the day before a game and saying that, proper tantrum. I quit a couple of months ago and I'm now telling you that. It feels like he had that in his back pocket. And
it's a bit like Amorim, wasn't it, Ben? It's like almost like sack me. Come on, sack me. Let me get my compensation. Yeah. I want my compensation.
I'll go now then if it's going to be. So, and it's not that Sunderland haven't been brilliant at home and, all that resilience to come back from behind and, all of the player names that you picked out there, Connor. But was that the most Enzo Lefebvre finish as well? I know, Connor, you were across him from when he arrived in the Championship last year. I always remember the great Ian Wright saying, when you go through on goal 1v1, you need to go cold. The stadium needs to disappear. All the emotion needs to go out of it.
As easy as that.
Trust your technique. Find the corner. He didn't even take his cigar out of his mouth, Enzo Lefebvre, did he? Just stroke that one in the corner, beautifully, cool and calmly. But
I think he genuinely looks better in the Premier League than he did in the Championship, and it just proves football's
strange,
not linear.
Isn't it? I'm going to do my only clanging Ipswich reference. We had a player called Jermaine Wright, who you might remember, who the fans really didn't get on board with in the Championship. And we went up to the Premier League, and the style of football strangely suited him with his crew upbringing and training. And he looked better in the Premier League than he did in the Championship. So it definitely can be a thing. And I suppose the Sunderland fans, I mean, you have managed to mention AFCON. Can we see if we can try and mention AFCON every week? Because it's been annoying the Sunderland fans all season, and they were probably like, right, no more mentions of AFCON now, it's all done. But Connor managed to get one in there. But yeah, absolutely superb. 33. I don't know. Do you think they'll stop in the top half, guys?
Yeah, I've got them quite high.
Yeah,
I've got them quite high.
I was going to say, I mean, rinse, repeat, Sunderland get another good result. It's sort of the same every week on here. But have they gone through their dip in the season with going through that little run of 5 games without a win? Because they still did draw quite a few of them, so we weren't really alarmed. Yeah. Maybe, once again, going back to Connor's point about the Cup, that win over Everton last week on penalties with Roofs' heroics, maybe that gave them a lift coming into this one. Good to see a comeback win, because Sunderland, despite being so good this season, haven't been prolific scorers, but to go down and then come back to win was obviously impressive. And I think at this point now, considering, I mean, surely they're safe with the points they've got, and they just need a couple more to get to 40. You would maybe think there could be a bit of a fall off, but I don't know. I think you look at where Sunderland are in the table. This result, okay, against a Palace team, are a bit of a mess, but they've got to be keen to keep that Stadium of Light record. I genuinely think they could stretch that till the end of the season where they don't lose at home, which would be incredible.
I do take your point, but I think of players like Granit Xhaka, who when they've dropped, maybe they've drawn against some of the bigger sides, and he's visibly upset, and you can see him like talking to the players as if it's like, no, we need to win these games. I remember the Arsenal game when it's like after the game, visibly he seemed upset, and they got back into it and they drawn it 2-2, but he wanted to win the game. And obviously there's a connection for him there, but I do wonder how much, and maybe that's the mentality of some of the players. It's, we need to get as high as we can here, and that Regis Labrie doesn't strike me as that character as well, to just kind of rest on his laurels.
And what an opportunity it is as well. They're literally outside the top 7 on goal difference. So real opportunity this season if they keep their foot on the pedal. Sorry, Ben.
No. Con, can you take this one? Because obviously Matt and I cannot be impartial about it. But Dan Neil has been linked with Championship. Obviously got 47 appearances to get to a playoff final last year. Obviously mine and Matt's teams are involved. But you would think he could do a good turn for anyone in a promotion race. Is that where you'd be sending him if you were Sunderland?
Yeah. I mean, West Ham are looking at him as well.
Actually?
Yeah, well, West Ham, okay. They were linked with him last week as well, so it kind of just shows
you're having a good season when you can loan someone you don't need to in a Premier League club.
As a newly promoted side, by the way, like that is incredible. Like, so Dan Neil was, I mean, even just watching him a couple of times last season up against Leeds, he just really composed in the midfield. He's got that. I see him as a leader. I think in a Lampard side, he really works. And I'd say as an Ipswich team, he's almost like, I think he's a better player than him, but he's almost like that Sam Morsey figure from previous. So I think Dan, and he's got a real good technical level as well, but definitely a leader in there. And imagine if you get him now, how much he's learned off Granit Xhaka in just a short space of time, in terms of like standards and leadership as well. So I think he'd be a real good addition for any Championship side.
Did Sunderland never loan a player to Middlesbrough? Is that not a done thing? I'm sure Sunderland fans are screaming in the chat. I don't know how the rivalry goes. It's always Newcastle up there, isn't it? But sometimes you can loan someone down the road, can't you?
Yeah, you can indeed. I guess it's just who makes it's weird with loans now, isn't it? Because getting a loan striker, I've
just remembered Middlesbrough got Hayden Hackney and Aidan Morris and don't really need him. But
well, it depends on West Ham. If West Ham start offering crazy money for Hayden Hackney, which is being rumoured, then you never know. But kind of different players, aren't they, in a sense, Dan Neil? I see Dan Neil as a bit more of a holder and Hackney as a bit more box-to-box. But Right, lads. Well, I tell you what, we'll leave it there. I mean, we were going to get onto something else, but we might leave it for next week. It can filter into next week because we have.
It applies every week.
Yeah. Well, so tune in next week. But this has been an hour and 6 minutes long, so this is an absolute bumper of a show, the longest I think we've ever done. But we've had a lot to cover, and we have shoved Spurs in there just for good measure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please, guys, all of you, do me a massive favour. Go over to Benjamin Bloom's channel. Go over to Matt SB's channel. Matt is on the way to 565 billion subscribers this week.
Every time.
And Ben's doing some great things over on his channel. What are we closing on now, Matt? Sorry, Ben, is it 55, 56,000?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like talking
about okay. All right.
When am I seeing you on Sportsman? Are you on any of those?
Yes, we are on the Sportsman. I was supposed to be on next week, but I'm on.
I think I might be depping for you next week, so you're obviously not going to be there.
No, I'm actually going to watch a football game, believe it or not.
Has anyone told Callum Fowler?
I know. I'll be getting it, trust me. But guys, thank you so much. Leave a like and just leave us topics you want us to discuss in the section below, and leave comments on your club as well. We love reading Forest, West Ham, Leeds, Wolves, whatever it is, and it just lets us know that there's a variety of people.
Leeds, Fulham teams in there.
Yeah, you can find Leeds, Fulham teams in there. It's been a pleasure, everybody, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.